All right, everyone. We are back. Happy, now it's 2 p.m. We have our next session in this lineup. What I'm so excited about these last couple of sessions is we've gone through a lot of different digital content today, and now we're really getting to how we're linking it into our businesses and as entrepreneurs, basically what we need to do. So this session is how to use HubSpot's free tools to generate leads with the lovely and wonderful Andrea. I am so excited to have her here and to present during Longmont Startup Week 2020. She's a marketing and technology enthusiast. She's done a lot of work in B2B software, and now she's the founder at Think Better Marketing. So Andrea, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan. All right. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, looking great.
Okay, excellent. So like Morgan said, my name is Andrea Steffes-Tuttle. I'm the CEO and founder of Think Better Marketing, and we're a HubSpot certified partner. I know that this is a HubSpot-centric presentation. By no means is this a sales pitch. This is focused on the free tools that HubSpot's actually made available, and even more expanded their free offerings during this sort of crazy time that we're in. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows what's available to them for free. And so I'll dive into that. The purpose of this training is to make sure that you guys learn something about the state of sales and marketing in the world that we're experiencing right now. There's a lot changing in business, and HubSpot has done a lot of really great research, observing their thousands and thousands of clients and what's happening in sales and marketing based on the data that they're seeing. So I'm going to share some of that with you. I also want to make sure that you understand the tools that are available to you for free. You can sign up today and there's no charge. You can get started using some of these tools and help you understand how you can leverage the tools. So show you a couple of real world examples of how you can leverage HubSpot's free features, and then give you an idea of how to launch a lead generation campaign using HubSpot. So first, we'll start out with sort of this world of adaptation that we're in. HubSpot recently released a report that shares the changes in sales in Q2 over Q1. So one of the findings that they had was that outbound sales is less effective right now. Salespeople are sending 44% more email than they did in Q1 and getting 24% fewer responses. So, obviously people's emails are inundated. Not a lot of people are looking to buy, right? Buyer behaviors have changed. So HubSpot seeing this shown in their sales tools. There are exceptions in a couple of industries. So if you're in consumer goods or construction, email performance, sales email performance is actually increasing quarter over quarter. But for the rest of us, new sales opportunities are slowed. So this shows here new sales opportunities declining in Q2. So on the left here, deal creation, which is people identifying new opportunities, having new sales conversations, has decreased by 8% globally. And that is not exclusive depending on your size of business or where your business is. So you'll see here, companies of all sizes all over the world are seeing that decrease in new sales opportunities. They're also seeing a decrease in new sales won, so new revenue. New sales won declined in Q2 as well. So for those of you who don't speak in quarters, Q2 is April through June versus Q1, January through March. So really, April through June, as you know, it was like the core of this beginning of the pandemic and its effects on our experiences and business. So as a result of that, you saw global deals won go down by 11%, and again, not exclusive of size of business or where you are in the world. And that might sound like I'm starting out doom and gloom in the beginning of this presentation. I'm not. There's just some shifts that we have to make. So they also reported on marketing changes in Q2. And these are a little bit more hopeful. So website activity is up, as you might imagine, with storefronts closing. More people are, and all of us being at home, more people are managing their lives virtually. And so they saw a 16% increase in website traffic. Again, construction is an outlier. They saw a 28% increase. So if you are in construction, you are solid. But this sort of website traffic increase is positive because it just shows that, for those of us who have invested in a website, it's a good thing that we have done. And if you haven't, then, you should probably get a website up. Marketing email performance is also up. So where the sales email performance, the difference between these two are, sales email is email going directly out of someone's inbox, where marketing email is email going out of a tool like MailChimp, Constant Contact, or in this instance, HubSpot. So marketing email increased, like the sends actually increased. More people were sending marketing emails in Q2, but then also the open rates increased. So often when I see an increase in quantity of marketing emails being sent, the performance actually dips. We're not seeing that. We're seeing that more people are interested in engaging with marketing emails now, which, for as long as I've been a marketer, people have, wondered when email was going to be replaced or it was going to stop being as valuable. And it continues being just as valuable today as a marketing tool as it ever was. So continue to look to email as a marketing tool. The other thing that they saw was chat use is increasing. So if you're not familiar, if you go to a website, I'm sure you've seen it. Usually in the lower right-hand corner, a little box pops up that says, "Hey, how can I help you?" Or "What is your question today?" And HubSpot is seeing through their chat tool metrics that buyer-initiated chats are increasing by 31%. So all of this tells me that people are not stopping their engagement with business or with sales opportunities, but it's sort of shifted, right? It's shifted towards the top of the funnel where people are going to websites, asking questions through chat, and interested in getting those emails and that information from those emails, but the sales process has just slowed a bit. And so really for right now, what that means is a focus on educating and nurturing your market. And when I say your market, I mean the people who you don't know yet, but who might be interested in your product or service. And the people that you have that are your customers or are existing prospects. Continuing to focus on educating and nurturing them. While they might not be ready to buy now, it's still good to invest that time to get to know them, establish a relationship or strengthen a relationship with them. And so how do you do that? Invest in chat on your site, which we'll talk about in a minute, sort of the how-to of that. Focus on quality over quantity in outbound efforts. So I'm not saying stop all of your sales outbound efforts, and neither is HubSpot. Instead, what I've seen a shift in for myself and then also for a lot of our clients is instead of sending mass sales emails to 100, 1,000 prospects, it's serving us better to look at a smaller group, 5 to 25 prospects at a time, and creating really customized messages for how our business can solve their business problems or their consumer problems. And then improve your online discoverability. So with website visits up, with people at home managing their lives virtually, it's important to make sure that your website is discoverable by people in your market. So we'll talk about that. All right, so here's where HubSpot comes in. They have a ton of tools to support your evolved sales and marketing efforts. They're free, and so HubSpot pricing ranges from $0 to $100,000, just depending on your business, its size, what it needs. But what I love about HubSpot is that it has a great suite of tools for small businesses or businesses with a small budget. And so we'll go through the CRM, the sales tools, the marketing tools, and then the lead generation tools. And I'm just going to take a sip of water because it is quite hot. They also have service and support tools. We're not going to go through those, but just so you know, they do have free tools to manage your customer support. All right, so the free HubSpot CRM, I'm actually going to get into HubSpot and show you some of this. So the a CRM is a customer relationship management platform. And what that really means is customer org contact, is that you are able to pool and aggregate all of the contacts that are either your prospects, opportunities, customers, partners, evangelizers, really anybody that has a relationship with your business. You can bring all of those contacts together, organize them, track them, and manage them in one place. So I'm going to pull up one of their most basic tools in their CRM. So this is Think Better's HubSpot instance. And we're looking at all of the contacts that are in my database. And so I come into my HubSpot instance and I can see that I have 2,000 contacts. I can see who they are and I can filter them. So I can say, all right, well, let's look at everybody that's actually been created last week. And so it'll filter all the people that were created last week. I had 20 new contacts that came into my database last week. I also might want to say, all right, well, what about the people who were like last had an activity with me? I want to see people who were active with me, not next week, because that is in the future, last week. So there were 21 contacts that I had some exchange with, whether an email or a phone call, or I made a note on their account last week. So this just helps me understand the recency, sort of the volume of activity that's happening, who might be most engaged, where my new leads might be that I might want to reach out to. And then you can filter on a bunch of other criteria. So, you know, if you had an event that you recently attended, and we'll go over this in a minute, but you can upload lists into HubSpot. I can filter on that list membership. So I can say, all right, I want to see all of my contacts that were from downloaded this, we published this 2020 marketing template. And so here they are. And now I can actually, you know, go through and look at each of them and see what their engagement is with Think Better. I brought up a really great example. So if you thinking about going into a contact, like what benefit is there to have a contact exist in here? I have an example here that shows you really the breadth of information you're going to get on each of your contacts. So down here, you'll see where the contact was created from. So this contact was created from LinkedIn. What did they do? They saw a page where they went to set up a meeting with me, and we'll go through the meetings tool in a little bit as well. And then I can actually expand this filter to see, all right, I want to see all contact activity. And so that then shows me, all right, of the emails that I've sent to Quentin, which ones has he opened, which has he clicked, additionally, what pages on my website has he viewed, what meetings have we had? You get all of the exchanges, all of the activities associated with that contact in one place, which is really helpful. And then it also associates with the company. So I have data on the company in a different record. Any attachments that I've sent pull up into this contact record. And I just have this really centralized source of information for this. Was a lead, now a customer. So that's sort of the basics of the CRM. Then they have the sales tools. So I'll jump back over here. And then, so if I'm on Quentin right here, and I have created a deal for Quentin. Actually, I'm gonna go back over here. I'm going to go into a new contact. So say, I have this new contact. His name's Reed. He came in through email. And Reed and I are having a conversation, and he seems like a prospect. Like he seems like he might be a sales opportunity. So I'm going to create a deal. And a deal is one of the deal pipeline is a sales tool that HubSpot offers. So I'm going to add this deal, and it already sort of populates some of the information that I already have in here. So Third Bridge is the company, they're a new deal. Reed has, let's say, scheduled a meeting with me. So I'm going to say he scheduled a meeting. I don't know the amount of the deal yet because we haven't had a full conversation. So I'm going to leave that blank. And I might expect that this deal would close, let's say, at the end of August. And then I'm the owner, and the deal type is new business. They're going to be a new customer, not an existing customer buying more services. So I'll create that deal. And then the deal has associated itself with Reed and the company. And then I can go into my deal pipeline. And often this is really useful in like a sales meeting situation where you're reviewing all of the sales opportunities that you have and the state of your sales pipeline and your closed won deals. So this is my sales pipeline. I can see here how many people I have in meetings scheduled, how many people have advanced from meetings scheduled into having a connection conversation, pulling in more people from the buying team to have a conversation about our services, the exploratory meeting that then moves into a formal proposal being sent, the contract sent, and closed won. So this gives you a really great snapshot of what's in your pipeline, what opportunities do you have to help you determine what next steps to take. It also aggregates how much potential revenue is in your pipeline, so you can start to forecast, what our revenue might be this year if we closed 50% of these deals. So it's a really great organizational tool. It's a great way to organize your sales efforts, and it's all free. Like this whole board is free, which is really incredible. The other really nice tool is the inbox integration. So for salespeople, sending outbound emails, it's sometimes really tedious to send an outbound email, go then into the sales CRM, suggest, yes, I sent an email or made a call to this contact. HubSpot has a tool that you easily integrate either your Gmail or Outlook accounts, and then you can easily track all of the emails in HubSpot. So I'm going to show you an example of this really quick. So I am going to, say send an email to someone on my team so that I don't accidentally send an email to someone else. And these two check boxes over here say, yes, I want to log this email. So it's actually going to log the body of the email associated with Susan in HubSpot. And then I want to track it as well. I want to see if she's opened and clicked it. So this is really helpful in a sales experience where you're doing outreach to people and you want to know if they've even opened your emails, right? That's going to dictate what your next email might be. If they opened it and clicked it but never followed up, you might have a different message than if they never opened it at all. So this is a really helpful tool. It also creates a contact. If Susan were a new contact in email, it would create a new contact for her in HubSpot. So I don't have to go in and manually create a contact in HubSpot. It just does it. And then it associates the email activity there. Then the other really great tool is templates. So you can create templates. I'll just pop over here really quick and show you. Here, you establish email templates that you can use, and I have a bunch of them. And then you can just pull them into your email here. So these are also HubSpot tools. All of this is free. Just want to be clear. Where I say, all right, yeah, I'm going to do the partner email follow-up. It fills in the subject line. It fills in the body, and then I can customize it for Susan and then send it off, and it's tracked. So it's quite, makes my life way easier when I'm doing sales. The last thing for the sales tools that I want to mention is meetings. So you can set up, actually the best way to show this to you is, I'm sure all of you have seen these, but HubSpot will connect to your calendar so that people can easily set up meetings with you without the back and forth of, are you available on Tuesday at 4 p.m.? What time zone are you talking about? All of that back and forth is eliminated. And they can just quickly set up a time with you here. And then the beauty of this, because it's a HubSpot tool, is that data is also pulled in to HubSpot on that contacts record. So you say, you can see that that person set up a meeting with you. I'm going to pause there. Morgan, are there any questions?
Nothing that I'm seeing, but I see there's plenty of people watching. So if you have any questions, please just drop them in the comment box, and I'm sure we'll get to them.
Yeah, definitely feel free. Usually this presentation is, I'm able to answer questions as we go, and I know that as I'm going through and demoing, you know, I might lose you. So feel free to stop me.
Cool.
All right. So then we've got the marketing tools. So I'm gonna go over here. So this is just like plopped me right into marketing email. If you've ever used MailChimp or Constant Contact or really any email marketing tool, this is very similar. It's super easy to use. I'm not going to go through and create an email for everyone, but I just want to show you some of the like capabilities here. So you have one of the things I love about their email tool is they have really great analysis. So I can see overall the engagement, open rate, click-through rate, and the delivery across all of my email. And then they have this great email performance chart, and they're a little bit cheeky, where, you know, it's really across two metrics, click-through rate and open rate. And they have this nailed it option, right? So, you know, this email here, this lean content marketing email that we sent out, nailed it. It had a high click-through rate and it had a high open rate. Whereas this red one, low opens, low clicks, people did not care about this webinar campaign 2020 within our current contacts. So it gives you a great overall view of what emails are performing well. And then you can go investigate a little bit and say, all right, well, why do I think that these emails performed well? What's the content? How are they responding? How are my recipients responding to that content? Yada, yada. So it's pretty powerful metrics that, as far as I know, the last time I used MailChimp, they did not have measurement this advanced with their free tools. Then the other thing I wanted to show you was I can go into these emails, right, and see the performance like most email tools. I can see what people clicked on. And then I can go and look at the recipients and say, all right, these 17 people opened, but these 2 clicked. And I'd like to see a little bit more about who these people are. So I'm going to go look at Jeanette. I'm just going to look at her behavior. And this is sort of a good way to suss out, you know, if you know, your lead generation is kind of slow, but you have a blog that you're sending, you know, regular emails to, your sales team can go in and look at the email performance of these and look for recipients that might be engaged and could be potential prospects. So I'm looking at Jeanette Hill and, you know, just checking out what she's interested in. She was interested in our most recent Monday marketing motivation and our content marketing strategy resources. So it just gives me more information about Jeanette. They also, HubSpot also has a really great WordPress plugin. So, you know, when you're establishing your website, I often get the question, should I use the HubSpot CMS or the WordPress CMS, the content management system? And I often recommend WordPress. One, WordPress is free. The HubSpot CMS is not. And the WordPress HubSpot plugin is creates a really close connection. So I can still get all the data on where these people have navigated on my website, even if I'm on WordPress. Additionally, which I'll talk about in a minute, if I have WordPress forms on my website, the data submitted by people through those forms, say a contact form that's a WordPress form, still comes into HubSpot. It doesn't have to be a HubSpot form for those contacts to end up in HubSpot. And then it also has an advertising integration. So there's, I'll pop back over here and show you ads. So we have our LinkedIn ads connected in here. And so ultimately that connection provides me the information around acquisition. So if people came from an ad, if I gained a contact or generated a lead through an ad, I know that because of this integration. So it really helps with attribution. And it's free. So you can also, it pulls in all of your campaigns. So if you have like a really robust AdWords program, it'll bring in those campaigns and overlay the data to say, these are the people within your contact database that are actually engaging with those leads or are generated, or that are actually engaging with those ads or are generated by those ads. You can also create your ad campaigns from in here. So it's all just, helps to centralize most of your activities within the free tools, which is incredible. The other tool that's available but is not free, but is cheap, it comes with like the starter platform, is the social integration. So you can connect your social accounts and then you can schedule your social posts from HubSpot instead of within each of the individual social platforms or within some tool like Hootsuite. Instead, everything comes in here and then you can manage and monitor all of your social posts and get reports on your social posts. So this is great because it's just a centralized source of like how big are our audiences across our Facebook page, Twitter, and LinkedIn company page. Clearly, people are not interested in us on LinkedIn or on Twitter. But you can often on a weekly basis, you're reporting on these metrics and they all are in here. So you just have to go to one central place to get this information. So again, the social integration comes with the starter platform, which is $50 per month. So it's still pretty cheap, but is not within the free tools. Are there any questions, Morgan?
Yes, in fact, there are a couple.
Oh, okay. Are they?
Well, F. Rodriguez says hello. He's
Hello.
in the stream.
Oh, hey, F.
And he has a couple questions that he had brought up over the course of this one. The first was, apologies if I missed this, but is there a threshold returning to something like HubSpot makes sense for a marketer to begin using, like a specific number of emails in a database or otherwise?
Say the beginning of that one more time. Is there a specific threshold?
Like, is there a threshold where it makes sense to transition into this, or should folks just like start out in this? Or
I would say start out in this. I wouldn't have said that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I think it is, if usually I've found, at least with my clients or my experience, companies would start out in a MailChimp, which is just an email tool. And now they've built out more tools, obviously, like landing pages, et cetera. And that was a better starting point. HubSpot, since it's free, like many of these tools are free, I would say is the sort of same, you're making the same choice, except now you also have that sales CRM connected. So if you have 0 contacts, start on HubSpot.
Awesome. He also had asked, what are your thoughts on A/B testing within HubSpot's email tool? Like, is that something you use, and have you seen success from it?
Yeah, the A/B testing is, they have like really great A/B testing features. It's within the paid tools though. So you do have to be on one of the paid plans in order to get access to the A/B testing tools, but it's they're great. They're just as good as any I've ever used.
Okay, nice. Last question. Does the LinkedIn integration add more context to individual contacts? So specifically, if you're using that LinkedIn integration, does the contact's LinkedIn profile become attached to their HubSpot contact profile?
I believe so. It's not with the ad connection.
Okay.
And I think that is, again, another situation where you have to have a paid account, but I'm not totally positive because they've changed a lot of the access recently. But they will pull in LinkedIn profiles if they can find them for contacts.
Nice.
So I didn't have to follow up on that. Was that an F question or someone else?
Yeah, that was an F question.
Okay, great. F, I'll
Yeah,
give you a
plugging
comment.
away,
No.
you know?
Yeah.
All right, that's what we got for now. But
Okay.
so carry on.
Cool, great. All right. Then we've got the free lead gen tools. So this is really where the tools that help you know who's visiting your site, capture them, bring them into HubSpot and allow you to work them. So I'm gonna go back over here again. So you have forms in here like you do in many other tools. So you can create a form, embed it on your website, which is, pretty simple. Like you've seen many places, right? Like on our website, this is a HubSpot form that we've embedded. If someone submits this form, that information is pulled into HubSpot. What's great is that then if they come to my website again and they decide that they want to download our content marketing strategy resource, if I'm asking another question, say for their company name, the form will be auto-filled because they've already given me that information. And so, if I submit this form, my first name, my last name, and my email address will be auto-filled into a future form. And then all I have to do is say, oh, all right, you also want to know my company name. I'll give you that information. It's essentially called progressive profiling, which over time, as I get to know this contact who's interested in my product, services, resources, I can gather more information about them. So that's helpful. But one of the other tools that they have that's really great sort of in the forms world is pop-ups. And so I have a couple of examples here from a couple of our clients. So we have one of our clients has an upcoming webinar. And of course, as I come over to the site, this is gone. We have an upcoming webinar and we had a pop-up that was showing to encourage people to go to the webinar, but that is not there. So I'll just pop over here. This is a banner. So right, as an alternative to some sort of form or like, a whole overlay on your website, which is also an option. We have this just bar at the top of the website that gives us another piece of real estate to promote something new. So we just released this guide for one of our clients. And so we put this on the site to sort of create a little bit more promotion around it, which is great. So I just select this and then I'm taken directly to this guide. I wanted to show you. So these pop-up forms come in all different flavors. So you can create a regular form like I just showed you, or a pop-up form, which I showed you one of. But you can choose its effect, right? So it's either a pop-up box, drop-down banner, slide-in box left, or a slide-in box right. And this can be a form. So in this example, if I choose subscribe now, this might pop up a form that I can fill out right here, which is lovely. Like I don't have to go anywhere. It makes it super easy for the visitor. Or it can just be like I showed you before on this website where I just clicked this and it took me directly to the piece of content that we were promoting. So I find this to be a really awesome sort of flexible tool to support the promotion of new resources, guides, events, etc., to drive subscribers. One of the things that I wanted to show you that's not showing up is it's really helped with, if you're having virtual events, we've found great response as an additional promotion source to generate more registrations for webinars. It's often when you have an upcoming event, it's hard to know where to put that on your website. Does it take over events page that's buried. Rather, in this instance, you can just use one of these pop-up forms and it shows up on the homepage, but doesn't take over everything, and is a great alternative. I have already talked about the WordPress HubSpot plugin, so I'm gonna continue on. All right, so now that you know what to do with these tools, so you've got the CRM, the sales tools, the marketing tools, and the lead gen tools, what to do. So I usually suggest starting just by setting up the foundations. And this means first and foremost, organizing your contacts. So if you have an existing business, you likely have a list that exists somewhere, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet that your sales team is working through, or a list from an event that's just sitting waiting to be followed up with, or personal contacts. What I suggest you do is collect all of these and import them into HubSpot. Once they're in HubSpot, you can segment them and create lists based on their source, which is usually really helpful, right? If you have a list of blog subscribers, you're going to treat those people different than a list of, your personal contacts that are probably your aunt and your mom and dad, who still support you, but don't necessarily subscribe to your blog. So import them, clean them up using segmentation, and create lists so that you have those lists prepared to send emails to. Then set up your CRM tools. So these are the tools that I went over, where you would connect your Gmail or Outlook inbox to make sure that the communications that you're having with your contacts are coming into HubSpot, so you have that record. Set up the meetings link and add it to your signature and site. I get probably 2 or 3 people setting up meetings with me each week, and it really just avoids the back and forth and makes it super seamless for someone to set up a time to talk to me. And then set up your pipeline and add any existing deals. This can be you might task this to your sales team and just say, hey, here are pipeline stages, and now go in and add the deals and the stages. You probably, it's likely that you've already defined those things, you just aren't sure how to organize them. So those are sort of the 3 things to do to set up your CRM tools to make sure that you're using HubSpot sales tools effectively. And then this is sort of outside of HubSpot, but I wanted to say it anyways, because one of the findings that I presented at the beginning was, the discoverability of your website is key right now. And so a couple of really basic things that you can do if you haven't done them are register your site with Google Search Console. It's free. It measures your site's performance on Google. So it tells you which pages on your website are actually showing up in Google search results and for which keywords. So sort of how Google is indexing your website, and you can start to improve once you have that information. And then it also notifies you of basic site errors to fix. So, you might have a bunch of broken pages, and that looks really bad to Google, and it makes them sort of degrade your score. If you know what the errors are, you can then go ahead and fix them, improve your site score, improve the discoverability of your site. So Google Search Console, I highly recommend. And then just get a couple of sites to link to yours. I know, many of you on this might already have a really well-performing website, but for those of you who are just getting started, a couple of really great places to go if you aren't, in a position to get a bunch of press is directories. So directories like within your industry, here are, the best carpet cleaning services. Go get listed on those directories if you have a carpet cleaning business. Product review sites. So this is one thing we spend quite a bit of time doing for our clients who are often product companies, software companies, is there's a lot of product review sites that go out and scrape the internet and then create a profile or listing for you without you being able to check that information, provide them proper details about your products or your website. So do a quick Google search for your brand and see if you're listed on things like G2 Crowd or Capterra, and then go in and update those listings to make sure that they have accurate information and that they're linking to your proper website. That's a real quick way to start to boost some results. Get listed on associations. So like, for instance, I'm a chamber member, and so I have a link on the Boulder Chamber, and that link outside of my website gives me more credibility in Google's eyes. So if you're a member of an association, make sure that you have a link there. And then news agencies will often, have some sort of listing, free calendar, something like that you can get listed on. Or you can, if you have relevant news for them, I always encourage people to send on information about their business if it's relevant to things that are happening in the world, to editors and writers at local and, just US-based news agencies. All right, then that's sort of an aside, has nothing to do with HubSpot really, but set up your marketing tools. So establish tracking across your site and HubSpot. That's easily done with WordPress and the plugin. Create a form and or pop-up, like we talked through, and then set up chat on your site only if you're going to be monitoring it. So if it's not going to be monitored and someone's going to come through your website, ask the question, and then they're going to wait, that's more of an annoying experience. So only set it up if someone's going to be available. What's great is that HubSpot has an integration with Slack. So you can push those chats to, if you're using Slack, to notify you. So that's a great way to manage chats. Since if you're using Slack, you're likely already in Slack all day. It helps create sort of a seamless experience. All right. How are you going to engage existing contacts and attract new leads now that you have your foundation laid and you understand how HubSpot works and you're all signed up and it's free? Here's an example of, here's the to-dos for just a basic lead generation campaign. And there's sort of 4 components that are like the basic criteria for a lead gen campaign. First, you need to determine a hook. So something that's going to interest your audience, whether that's news about your business, a guide that you've put together, some sort of new product that you've released, a piece of research, or if you're launching a newsletter. People love newsletters right now. They're so hot. So if you're launching a newsletter, that might be a piece of news that you can share, a blog post, or a virtual event, right? So like something that provides value that someone might be interested in and will provide you their information for. Then you need to identify your promotion channels. So whether it's email or paid search through Google AdWords or social networks, whether it's just organic social or paid social, industry publishers or news agencies. Oftentimes industry publishers will offer paid placement in their emails, on their site through display, or even partnered events. So those can be expensive, but worth looking into. And then through community forums. I have a client who has like the Slack channels are really active in their industry. So anytime we publish a new thing, we make sure to go into those industry Slack channels and promote them, and we get a ton of activity. So just think about where your community lives, and that'll be a promotion channel. You need to prepare your message. So what are you actually going to be saying? If it's an event, a virtual event, what's the name, the time, place, right? Like everything that was sort of modeled for us for the Longmont Startup Week. And then you'll, tailor that depending on the promotion channel, and then set up the destination for engagement. So this is, don't send people just to if you're going to send out an email for a lead gen campaign, you're not just sending people to your homepage, you're sending them to a dedicated landing page or sign up page, or relevant blog post that has a form in it. All of these destination pages are going to have a form on them for lead generation, in order to, actually know who these people are. So those are sort of the 4 components of a lead generation campaign. I have a quick example. Oh, am I on time? Okay, I'm good. Sample of components of a simple campaign. So we published a webinar checklist. Obviously, in the COVID era, people are doing a lot of virtual events. So we put together this checklist of what you need to do if you're going to run a webinar. So the hook is the webinar checklist. The promotion is different depending on whether it's being sent to current contacts or if it's intended for new leads. So for our current contacts, right, we already know them. They're in our HubSpot database. We put together an email to them. We put together a separate email to blog subscribers because they have a different relationship with us. And then we distributed the promotion to our personal contacts. For new leads, we published a LinkedIn in-mail campaign We posted on social just organically. And then we had a small paid search campaign that really just focused on, how do I run a webinar, related terms around that. And the required supporting assets were the checklist, the landing page, the form, and a blog post that helped to promote that. So it's pretty simple. Like if you look at all these pieces, it's, quite simple. It didn't take us more than a couple days to put together. And this was the landing page, right? So how to run a webinar, sort of an intro, details about why you might be interested in a webinar checklist, and the form. This is the email that went to our current leads to download the checklist. So what's great about this is, they don't have to go fill out another form. They just have to select this button, and we know that they've downloaded the checklist because we already have all their information. We don't want to create, we don't want to make it tedious for them to get the checklist. So they just select this button, go directly to the checklist, but we still have a record that they were interested in webinars. Attracting new leads. We did a LinkedIn in-mail campaign. So this was the message that we sent through our ad campaign in LinkedIn. Pretty basic. And the results were quite good. Like, given the size of our audience, we had 121 views of the checklist, 30 new leads, and 3 sales opportunities. And I think we spent less than $500. So these lead generation campaigns can be really powerful. And like I said in the beginning, while you might not have a ton of new sales happening right now, it's still really important that you're just getting people to know you, building trust with your existing contacts, and getting more exposure for your business so that when people are ready to buy, they know who you are, you've built a relationship with them. Yeah. So then I just wanted to make sure that you knew where to go if you wanted to sign up today for HubSpot's free tools. Just HubSpot.com. On their homepage, it says get started for free. And then they have like the marketing hub and the sales hub, or what you're looking at. And you just select get started for free, and you create an account, and off you go. And that's it. Are there any questions, Morgan? Yeah.
We got a couple more from F, and anybody else who has questions that I can know are watching, please drop them in. This was incredibly thorough, and I always forget how exactly many things are free on HubSpot.
Yeah, it's so much. It's wild.
It's just truly an incredible amount. So F had asked, what are your thoughts on HubSpot certifications? Are they sufficient, or are there advanced resources you'd recommend that people check out?
I think that their certification courses are good. It's really like, I always, with like learning any new thing, right? Putting together your own sample campaign, right? You can go through sort of the steps that HubSpot takes you through, but you're not going to get a sense for how all the pieces work together until you create your own campaigns. So I would, just like building a website, you could go watch videos on WordPress on how to build a website, but you're not actually going to know how to build a website until you do it.
Right.
So yeah, I think like HubSpot has most of the certification. I don't know of, I don't have anywhere that I would point anybody to that says, yeah, these people actually teach you how to use HubSpot. It's pretty user-friendly. So if you just dive in on your own, you can't really mess much up unless you import a giant list of contacts that aren't opted in, and you send an email to them, and then you mess a lot of things up.
Right.
So don't do that.
Yeah, that'd be messy. I would agree. All right. Also, given the trendiness of newsletters, would you recommend HubSpot as the platform to power it, or is something like Substack more appropriate because of the simplified monetization?
I mean, for simplicity's sake, HubSpot's great, but like F, you just mentioned a tool I don't even know. Like, newsletters are the hotness right now, and there are so many tools supporting those. So I would say if you're going to invest a ton of time in your newsletter and you're looking to monetize it, find a newsletter specific tool. But if you just have, we have a basic newsletter, we aggregate content for our readers. We're not looking to monetize it. It's just a way to connect with our contacts. You can use HubSpot.
Nice. All right. Well, what a delightful and amazing presentation, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us here at LSW 20. I got to do a little song and jig to the folks who are watching. We are selling. I don't even have to hold up a T-shirt this year. I'm currently wearing one of our standard T-shirt pieces of swag. We are also selling a pocket tee. There's all the net proceeds go to 2 of our local entrepreneurial orgs. I've seen some orders flown in, so make sure you get yours before they run out. And you can also get sticker sheets, compliments of Sticker Giant for some cute little, fun LSW 20 swag. So you can go to longmontstartupweek.co and just head over to our shop and get those. There's local pickup options. So, and even I think both or at least one of them are definitely social distance. So that, we're trying to make it as safe and easy as possible during these pandemic times. Andrea, thank you again so much for joining us here at LSW.
Yeah.
And we'll be back at 3, so in just a little bit, with Dustin Brackett on growth hacking your website. So see everybody soon.
Thanks all.